Jesus called them together and said, "You know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." Here is Jesus in the scripture above, correcting his disciples and teaching them what the right attitude towards leadership is. Leadership has and will always continue to be important to God. If leadership is, to put it simply, influence, and we are all being influenced in one way or the other, even without our consent sometimes, you can see why God is committed to seeing leaders with the right understanding and values rise up. It is important that you see and recognize the call of God on your life as a leader. Often we think that until we are in a position of authority, then and only then are we called to be leaders. But it is God's desire that we influence our surroundings and the people around us rightly. This is the reason why you have been called the light of the world. As such, it is very important that you not only understand how leadership works, but also build and develop your leadership skills. You are not a good leader automatically because you find yourself in a position of leadership or having influence over someone. You have met bad leaders. You have been ruled by bad leaders. For this reason, you understand that good leadership skills do not automatically come with influence or position. What kind of leader are you over yourself? Jesus understood that to be a great leader, you must first be able to lead yourself well. He also understood that you lead from the inside out, which means you cannot move people to where you yourself have not gone or successfully lead people in areas that are unfamiliar to you. A lot of people are so concerned with being lights to the rest of the world and having influence over others that they don't take enough time to properly invest in building themselves. The greatest gift that you can give whoever you may have influence over, including your family, friends, and children, is the gift of taking time to properly invest in yourself. As we'll see later when we look at the levels of leadership, you are only able to produce what you have put in. In other words, you can only give what you have and not much more. The reason that we have a lot of issues in the world right now, from both the national level to even the level of individual homes and parenting, is because a lot of people have not done the work of investing in themselves first. Jesus came to correct his disciples' mindset. He wanted them to understand that what they were used to seeing, a style of leadership that made people in leadership positions exploit their power as boss and lead not by example but only by authority, was wrong. He was giving them a new law, a new way of doing things, his own style of leadership. And in this style, to be a great leader, you needed to know how to serve, how to meet the needs of the people over whom you've been called to lead. Leadership is a gift from God, but it's also a huge responsibility. You must be sure that you are using your influence both for the good of the people who have allowed you to have that influence over them or decided to submit to your leadership, and also for the good of God's kingdom. To be a great leader, your priority and focus must not be on yourself, but rather on the people that you lead. Every single one of us has been given a sphere of leadership, no matter how small. For some of us, it might just be with our friends. For others, it might extend to your co-workers and even a department that you are head of. Perhaps you run a business and have employees. In such case, you are a leader in your business. Others may be called to lead in church in various positions, and almost every one of us are called to lead in our families to one extent or the other. It may simply be over your kids as their parent, or it may be over your wife also if you happen to be a man. The important thing to keep in mind is that you are already a leader. Whether you are aware of it or not, you have some kind of influence over someone or multiple someones. So what kind of leader are you? Are you a bad or good leader? Are you maybe a mediocre leader? Which style of leadership do you practice? Are you a servant leader like Jesus taught his disciples? Or do you exercise your authority like the people of the world, taking advantage and doing things only because you have the privilege of leadership, without taking thought to the people you lead? Even more importantly, what level of leadership are you currently on with the people you lead? And how are you planning to move things ahead? In his book, Developing the Leader Within You, John Maxwell speaks about 5 levels of leadership. And just before we take a look at what they are, it's important to recognize that the levels are important because they let us know how much influence we have and how much we are growing in our leadership skills and abilities. The higher you are in a level of leadership with someone, the more influence you have with them and the more you have been a source of blessing to them. As you move from level to level in each of your relationships, not only are you influencing them more positively for God, but you are also helping them live out the fullness of their purpose. So as we look at the 5 levels of leadership and a brief description of what they are, the descriptions also tell you what you can do to move to this level of leadership, whether it's at work or with your relationship with your kids. Level 1, position. Now, this is the lowest level of leadership. At this level, people follow you because you have a position over them. They only do the bare minimum because no one likes having to listen to someone else, especially someone they do not really know or have a relationship with. This is not a bad level to begin from, but you must not remain at this level indefinitely because it is also the least productive or influential level. Level 2, permission or relationship. At this level, people follow you and they also like you. You know how to listen to the people who you lead or have influence over. You have an actual relationship with them. You know and observe them. You listen to them and you let your observations guide your decisions. Level 3, production. At this level, you are not just the leader people like, but one they trust to get results. They know that they can follow your example and they will like the results they get. You can successfully motivate people to be like you. You are an example that others can look up to. Level 4, equipping or people development. Now, at the 4th level of leadership, not only do you produce results, but you also help people produce their own results. You coach people. You know how to communicate what you know in a way that other people not only learn, but also become teachers themselves. Just like Jesus taught the disciples to become fishers of men, and they in turn went on to raise fishers of men themselves, you have become a very productive and influential leader who also raises other leaders. Level 5, pinnacle or respect. This is the highest level of leadership and influence. It is a lifelong goal. It is defined by the utmost respect from the people who follow you. Jesus was this kind of leader, and he inspired this kind of loyalty and respect. Jesus was this kind of leader, and he inspired this kind of loyalty and respect. Other leaders at this level would be people like Oprah Winfrey, Nelson Mandela, and so on. And after more than 2,000 years, the organization that Jesus established, the church, is still standing. It is our hope and goal that we will be this kind of leaders for the kingdom and for God. God bless you.